I'm John with the Treasure Finding Rods Company, and today I wanted to talk about a new model that my company just got out on the market. And this is the TFR-4 Extreme version, Long Range Locator, and it's a step up from the very popular around the world, the original TFR-4 version. This locator is for 2018, and it's using some very, very powerful minerals that we have recently discovered in our research and development, our research team, R&D team. And this TFR-4 Extreme version also has a very, very large and powerful crystal that's been installed. It's double terminated, which means it has 2 points on each end, and there's only one place in the world that we can get these, and we have found that these crystals that we're getting are just phenomenally powerful. We encode them with specific frequencies. We're using very, very pure special frequencies for gold and silver. And this crystal in the TFR-4 Extreme version is about the size of a grape. It's huge. And what we have discovered in the year that we've been field testing the TFR-4 Extreme version is that you will get an average of about 800 to 900 extra feet in long range distance compared to the original TFR-4 on your targets, and you will get about between 5 to 8 feet extra depth on the targets. And the TFR-4 Extreme version is stainless steel. The rear power booster is stainless steel, and there's a bored out, hollowed out chamber that we insert a plug into the back here, and we have this is working as a balancer for the correct CG of the TFR-4, and it's also working as an amplification accessory and as an extra amplification power to the main power load that's inside here. That's from about here, right there where you see that E, the end of Extreme, to about here. There's a sealed power load where we have 6 different proprietary minerals, and we have 2 different types of crystals in here. And it also has a more aerodynamic look to it, to differentiate it from the original TFR-4. This is stainless, all stainless steel here. And the spindle head is powder coated. The handle's aluminum. And you see there's a jack there where you would connect the electronic box. I'm going to be talking about that pretty soon here. And I'm going to go ahead and take the front cap off so you can see the empty sample chamber there. I actually have a gold coin in there, you can see. So you would load your samples inside that empty well there. And this TFR-4 Extreme, you can find anything. Pretty much anything with it. Gold, silver, platinum, copper, anything that you can put in this sample chamber. And I also have a line of very powerful accessories for those who don't want to be carrying around expensive samples in their pockets or trying to figure out the purities of different types of gold. I better put this back on here. So we have discovered, aside from the new powerful minerals that we've discovered that amplify the outgoing signals on these, we have discovered some new frequencies for gold and silver, for refined gold and silver, that are much, much better than our previous frequencies. And all the TFR rods are using these improved frequencies, but they are also here in the TFR-4 Extreme version. Another nice thing about the TFR-4, which is a feature on all my TFR rods, is how you can take the instrument is very lightweight, small, compact. You can take it apart in 4 sections. You can take the antenna off. You can take this front chamber off. I'll go ahead and do that real quick, and you can put it in your pocket. If you're out scouting an area for potential treasure and somebody's coming around to see what you're doing, you don't want to attract attention to yourself. You know, we've all been in those situations as treasure hunters. You can just take this thing apart in less than 50 seconds. See how you can just take everything apart, and you can just put it in your pocket real quick. And usually what I do when I'm out treasure hunting and I get in these situations where somebody's coming over, or I see somebody coming in, want to know what I'm doing, I'll just carry a camera around my neck, and I'll take this apart real fast, and I'll put it in my pocket. And then when the coast is clear, I'll go ahead and assemble it again. So you can take it apart, and then you can just put it back together relatively quickly, no time at all. And another advantage of being lightweight and compact is it doesn't tire your wrist. After hours of using this in the field, you could hunt with this all day long. And it's got a perfectly balanced CG here in the middle here. And you can just, you know, I've used different types of long range locators from other manufacturers, and I'm not going to name names, but some of these different models from other companies, other competitors, man, it's like after an hour or two, you know, your wrist hurts. They're front heavy, and you know, some of them are big, they're bulky. You can't take them apart. They attract attention. Here's another thing I wanted to mention. Another big advantage, especially with the new streamlined front end we have here. You can use these in light winds, and the TFR rods, and you know, they're real steady on the targets. The light winds, I wouldn't say strong winds, but light winds do not affect the performance and the effectiveness on the signals in using these rods. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else I should mention before I go get the electronic box. I'm running out of daylight here. That's why I'm talking so fast. I got out here a little late, and it's very cold. We're here in February, so here in Idaho it's pretty cold. But yeah, this is a professionally built instrument, custom made. We make these by hand. We don't have a factory. And the reason that we opted out of getting a factory with an assembly line and all that is that these parts are precision made. They're made in professionally made in a machine shop, and the measurements and the weights all have to be 100% precise. And the only way that we can guarantee that is to custom make each one by hand, all the parts, and measure them out. So that's another thing that I wanted to mention. When you buy one of the TFR rods, you are getting a custom-made precision instrument. You're not getting something that we're cranking out off an assembly line or parts from China and all that. These are made here in the United States, right? Good old USA, made here at home. And you know, it's we've sold hundreds of these around the world for the last 6 years, and I've got lots and lots of testimonials, happy customers, people finding stuff all the time, people sending me pictures of coins, videos, people uploading videos on YouTube of stuff they're finding. So I am mentioning that for those that wonder, you know, if there's any feedback. And I'm going to go ahead and get the electronic box out and talk about that and how that works with the rod here. Okay, so this is the electronic box for the TFR-4 Extreme version. And I'm going to try and get this done pretty quickly because I'm running out of sunlight here. Okay, so here's the power switch right there. That's what you would turn it on. You have a dial with all these different weights, and I'm going to talk about that here in a minute, how that works, because some people get confused about, you know, if you have this set on a specific weight and they're not sure what the weights are or the targets. I'm going to explain that. And okay, so you have, this is very, very handy here. You have a battery check. You can check your voltage right there on the voltmeter. Keep track of your battery's power. Okay, let's turn it over. We have a very sturdy, professional, belt clip here, and it's got a little extra. Lip in there. You can see it right there, and that helps to secure it to your belt. And here's where you have your 9-volt battery. We're using some very for the TFR-4 Extreme. We are using some new expensive types of lithium-ion batteries, and I'm going to take this out here in a little bit and show you how you can just use your Android's phone charger to recharge these. That's really handy when you're out in the field and you don't have access to a wall outlet in your home. You can just recharge these even in your car. If you have an Android phone and you have a phone charger in your vehicle, you can recharge these batteries anywhere. And the capacity of these batteries is a lot higher, is longer than our previous batteries that we were using. So, okay, so let me talk a little bit about these two connections here. Okay, if I can get the camera in focus. So we have discriminator voltage and we have direct voltage. This box, what it's doing is, it is pumping 9 volts of electrical current, and it's regulating it with the discriminator voltage. It's regulating that current for different size targets when you're in this connection. When you're searching for all size targets, no limit, from like a speck of gold to a grain to a gram to thousands of pounds, you would connect use the direct voltage. So you have 2 modes of searching. And what I always tell people, they get a little confused about which mode they should hunt in, is I search in direct voltage, and I keep the cable connected to that. When I find a target, I will switch over from direct voltage to discriminator voltage. And what I'll do is, now this is one of the features I wanted to mention here, that only the TFR rods have this feature. There's no other long range locator that I'm aware of made in the world, at least I haven't seen one yet, that will allow you to switch over when you find a target to the discriminator connection, and you can start turning this dial. And you can just start at minimum right over your target, and you can just start turning this real slowly and go through all these weight settings here. Let me put this a little closer so you can see. And as soon as you get on the exact size, the exact volume weight of that target that you found, you'll get a lock. You're holding the rod in the other hand. It'll tell you. Now, this is very, very important because, some of the other models on the market, I'm not naming any names, you don't know what you found. You get a target and it's a real strong signal, and you start digging a hole and there's nothing there. Well, heck, you might have found microscopic gold. You might have found some microscopic particles of silver. Who knows? With the TFR rods, every single model that I sell, all my TFR rod models come with this discriminating feature. This discrimination feature, which is very powerful. Here's another big advantage. Let's say you're out looking for a known treasure and you know it's 10 pounds, for example. Okay, you put it on 10 pounds, connect to the discriminator voltage connection here, and guess what? You are only going to find exactly 10 pounds. No more, no less. You could put it on 50 pounds. Here's another big, and you would only get a signal to 50 pounds of material. Now here's another big advantage. You can put it on maximum. When you're on maximum, between 100 pounds and maximum, there's 1/8 of an inch space there. When you're on maximum, that's 500 pounds and unlimited. Unlimited weight. Thousands of pounds. 2 tons, 4 tons, 5 tons. That is a very, very powerful, important feature to have on your equipment. Because if you're looking for something that you know is 500 pounds or more, a target, you're not going to be wasting any time. You can digging anything less than 500 pounds. And it's just, I can't stress how important that is. Because you can go to an area, a huge area, or an area of interest where you think something is buried, a huge treasure, and within a relatively short time, you can just set your weights right on this dial. And you will know very, very quickly if that target that you're looking for, whether it's there or if it's not. People ask me sometimes, well, what if I'm looking for 1 ounce gold nuggets in a known gold field, and there's a nugget there that's just a little short of an ounce or a little more. Let's say it's 1 ounce and 5 grams. Well, then what you do is you would set it on 1 ounce, and if you don't get any signals, then just start turning that dial a little bit below 1 ounce or a little bit above 1 ounce, and keep sweeping your rods. You could just stand there without even moving, and you could just turn this dial real slow. And when you get on an exact weight of the target, the rod will lock, you'll get a hit. And that's a very, very powerful feature to have. So, also, I will mention again, if you're not sure of your targets, connect to direct voltage if you're not sure what the size is. Let's say you're at a park looking for coins, rings, whatever, you don't know what the exact weight is, hunt in direct voltage. When you get over a target and the rod's spinning, the rod is pulling, switch over to discriminator voltage. So now I'm going to show how you would connect the box to the rod. Okay, it's kind of tricky to do this because I only got 2 hands to do this here. I don't have a little table. Okay, so we're going to connect. This is the stereo cable. It's 3 feet. Got plenty of length on there. You can buy your own cable if you want. These are available just about any type of electronics outlet or eBay, or you can find them online. But the one you get these are gold plated. These are nice ones. So you would just plug right into there. We're going to plug into discriminator voltage. So you would plug one in there. Okay. And so then you're just going to take the other end. It's a little tricky here. See if I can do this, because I want to show how the conduit light comes on when you plug into the bottom of the rod, of the handle. You see there's a jack there, so you're just going to plug right into there. Now watch that conduit light come on. You see that? As soon as that conduit light comes on, that is a verification light there that shows you have full contact with the rod, that you're getting full voltage into the rod. Now, I'll just mention this real quick. Once again, running out of daylight here. When the box is connected to the rod, the 9 volts of electrical current, now this is insulated for those that are wondering if they're going to get some kind of shock. You're not going to get shocked, so don't worry about it. This is grounded to the box. This is insulated, so this shoots 9 volts of electrical current into the rod. Now this voltage shoots into the rear booster and out to the front, and it activates those crystals and those minerals. And when that voltage comes into contact with that 6 mineral mix that we have in there, and those 2 different types of crystals in there, let me tell you, it's like fire and gasoline. It just it amplifies the output frequencies and the output signals like you would not believe. It's just very, very powerful. And what we discovered is that the larger the crystal and the stronger the minerals, when the electrical voltage comes in contact with that mix, that sealed power load mix that's down in there, and it's in the rear booster as well, it's just phenomenal. You're getting long distance ranges like you would not believe. The TFR-4, the original TFR-4, will hit a 2-gram gold or silver coin laying on a rock, just not even buried, at about 1,200, between 1,000 to 1,200 feet. The TFR-4 Extreme will hit that same 2-gram gold and silver coin at about between between about 2,100 to 2,200 feet. So we're talking about a huge difference in long distance range. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else I need to mention. I'm going to talk a little bit about how some of the science behind this, because I get people every now and then saying there's no science to this. This is all metaphysical nonsense. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that, and I'm going to clear up some things about how these long-range locators work. You know, I always tell people, look, if these things didn't work and they didn't do anything, nobody, everybody, the people selling these would be out of business a long time ago. There wouldn't be any reported finds. There wouldn't be videos. You can go on YouTube and you can see customers finding coins showing you, you know, pretty clearly that not even knowing where these things are, and my instruments getting signal lines on these targets and uncovering these coins and stuff like that. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that for a few minutes and clear up some of the misconceptions about how these things are working and the science behind them. Okay, so in this final section of this demonstration presentation video today, I want to talk a little bit about, kind of touch on how this long-range locating technology works. You know, I get a lot of people that email me and say, you know, I'm having a hard time believing in any of this long-range stuff. The gold has some mystical, magical energy around it, and that these things can pull to them in some mysterious way, and it's kind of like some mysterious force, so on and so forth. Now, I'm going to touch a little bit about this, and I'm just going to ask that you open your mind a little and expand your horizons a little, and just be open to what I'm about to say here. I'm no scientist, I'm not a physicist, but I've done a lot of research into this to find some type of scientific evidence, a background of how, you know, to kind of explain to people how this technology works. And in a nutshell, I'm going to try and give you the shortened version, because I could talk about this for an hour. The best analogy that I could give for the skeptics of how these TFR rods are working and some of the other long-range locators on the market, the TFR rods specifically are working with radio-type frequencies in the kilohertz and millihertz range. I can't give out the numbers for obvious reasons, but imagine the TFR rod as a broadcaster and a receiver of radio signals. Okay, now what do radio signals have to do with gold and silver? I'll give you an example. I'll explain it to you. Gold and silver, all metals, all minerals, rocks, trees, dirt, wood, just about anything you can think of has a resonant frequency, vibrational frequency to it. It's vibrating at a certain frequency, at a particular numerical frequency. So the broadcast frequencies that we are using in the TFR rods resonate with those particular frequencies of gold and silver and other minerals, whatever you're placing in the sample chamber here. So it's kind of working like a little, imagine a TFR rod as a little radio broadcast tower. It's sending out these signals through the air. And when it finds that same exact frequency match, it resonates with it. It creates an attraction. It creates a pull on the antenna. It's a small pull. If it's a large treasure, the pull will be even stronger. It creates an attraction, kind of like magnets are attracted to each other, right? What's creating the attractive forces in magnets? The TFR rods are working similar to magnets, but it's not a magnetic attraction, it's something similar. So how does a radio, you could have a small AM radio in your pocket, how does it pick up on that radio station through the air? How is it attracted to it? It's picking up that station miles. I mean, the bigger the radio tower, the farther away the radios will pick up on the stations. It's the same principle. And I have people say to me, yeah, well, how does this thing penetrate? You said it'll penetrate a rock and it'll go in the dirt and it'll penetrate a mountain and you can find gold on the other side of a mountain, so on and so forth. And I just can't wrap my mind around how this thing can have any kind of attractive pull to targets that are miles away, you know, because the TFR rods, especially this version right here, the Extreme version, it'll hit a pound of gold or silver at almost 2 miles range. But how is that possible? How can it penetrate the ground? How can it penetrate the rocks, the signals? Okay, getting back to the radios. You could be in a building, a concrete building, with steel all around you, and you're picking up that radio station. You got that radio frequency dialed in just right, and you get the static out of the way, you can pick up that station perfectly. Now, how is that radio signal penetrating thousands, millions of pounds of concrete and steel to get to that little radio, that little antenna? Same principle. These signals on these buried targets are also coming to the surface of the ground, and the TFR rods are picking up on those signals coming to the surface. They are also penetrating the ground. So that would be one of the best ways that I can explain this, how this is working. All matter is really energy. You know, like I said, I'm not a physicist, but I have studied some of this. I've researched this. Albert Einstein, everyone knows who that is, said that everything is vibration. What is he talking about? What does he mean by that? All matter vibrates, has a resonant frequency, vibrates at a particular rate that has to do with the atomic structure of matter, how the atoms, the protons and the neutrons are all working together, how the atoms are vibrating, and scientists are getting into this. This also gets into quantum physics, where they're finding particles smaller than atoms. Basically, in a nutshell, what Einstein is saying, everything is vibration. So in other words, all matter, steel, rocks, concrete, wood, everything is really just condensed energy fields that have to do with how fast atoms are vibrating and making up that particular vibration. Everything has a vibration to it. So for those people that say that that's crap, the gold doesn't have some mystical energy, you're wrong. Study. Get into what Einstein talked about. Get into the atomic structure of matter. The structure of matter, it's all really energy. What is matter made up of? atoms, protons, neutrons, spinning around the nucleus of the atom and all that. It's all really energy. Okay, so if that's true, which that's been established already by the scientific community and the physicists and Einstein and all these other great minds, then yes, gold, silver, and other metals and minerals do have an energy field to them. How do metal detectors pick up on targets deeper in the ground than they do an air test? Why is that? Standard metal detectors, I'm not even talking about long range locators, because metals in the ground have an energy field around them that starts interacting with the mineralization in the ground, and that energy field, that aura, that electrostatic field, starts building up stronger and stronger over time in the ground. Metal detectors go deeper on buried targets than they do in air testing. That's a known fact, and it has to do with that energy field that I'm talking about. Okay, so you kind of just have to open your mind. And here's another thing I wanted to mention. The TFR rods are using very powerful crystals. One of the main crystals we are using, I can mention it. It's not the only crystal. It's not the real powerful one, but one of the ingredients is quartz. Quartz crystals. Let's talk about quartz crystals real quick, because we're running out of time here, and I don't want to stretch this into a long conversation. But quartz crystals are used. Now, you can do your own research into this. I'm not making this stuff up. This is all known science, okay? It's known. Quartz crystals are used in electronic circuit boards. They're used in everyday types of electronics. Televisions. Quartz are used in radios. Why are quartz crystals used in televisions and radios and circuit boards and certain and particular electronics components? Why? Because they store and transmit energy. They're amplifiers of energy. The quartz that's in the TFR rods is amplifying the frequencies that we are using. It's amplifying the signals, those output frequencies that I was mentioning earlier. Have you ever seen those clocks that are in medical clinics, schools, supermarkets, different types of businesses, the dentist office? You've all seen those big clocks that say quartz on them, right? Why do they say quartz on them? What is that about? Why is there quartz crystal? If all of this is some kind of metaphysical mumbo-jumbo nonsense that I'm talking about, why are they using quartz in clocks? Because the quartz amplifies the energy, the power. It amplifies the quartz amplifies the battery's output, the batteries that are in the clock. You ask some of these people, when's the last time someone changed the batteries in that clock that says quartz? It's on the wall. Nobody can remember, because it's been like 5 years. Because the quartz crystals are like a little miniature alternator in there that's keeping that frickin' battery, they're keeping those batteries charged. It's keeping it going. You've all seen wristwatches that say quartz on them, right? Who hasn't seen a wristwatch that says quartz on it? Why is there a quartz crystal in a wristwatch? Same thing. It makes the batteries last for years. So I will conclude that topic with that final mentioning of the quartz crystals. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about the battery, the new batteries we're using in the TFR-4 Extreme that are very, very powerful. Okay, so I was talking earlier about the new batteries, the 800 milliamp batteries that we are using in the TFR-4 Extreme box. These batteries are very, very powerful, and they will last twice as long as the previous batteries that we were using. And I'm going to show how you can monitor the capacity, the power of the batteries. I'm going to show that in a second here. Let me pull this cover off. Okay. Now you see those 3 bars in there. This is really cool. Check this out. When you're in the field, well, of course, you can monitor your battery's voltage anytime you want by turning on the power switch here, and as I showed before, you can check your voltage right here with the voltage indicator. Okay, but let's say you are in your vehicle, or you have the batteries outside of the TFR-4 box, the electronic box, or just a quick check here without, just to have another confirmation. Just press this little round circle here, and look at that. You see that? See, I'll put it in the shade. You can get an idea of what the capacity is just by pressing that little circle there, that little button there. And that's really cool, because when your battery is down to 1 bar, then you know it's time to recharge it. Okay, here's another thing that's really cool that I want to talk about that's really neat about these batteries. You see that USB cable socket there? That connection there? Now, this is another really cool thing about these new batteries we're using. You can use your phone's Android charger, USB plug. If you're out in the sticks, you're in the middle of nowhere, you have a 12-volt charger in your vehicle, no problem. Just connect it right there to that USB socket, and you can charge these batteries right there in your vehicle in the field. You don't need to be at home, and you can, like I was showing earlier, you can just press that little half circle there, and you can get an idea of what's left on the capacity. And these are real lightweight, and they last a long time. I love these batteries. So these high-tech batteries are all included now with the TFR-4 new Extreme version for 2018. You get 2 of these, one as a bonus for extra hunting time, and you get the USB charger and the cable.